fasting, hands down, is the most powerful thing you can do for your health. If you ate no food for 5 days, would you starve to death? Or would you heal your body? Would you improve your organs? We're going to talk about exactly what happens on day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Doesn't health come from nourishing the body? The real problem is that you're so used to eating, it's hard to give that up. What we're doing when we're fasting is we're basically mimicking how our bodies were evolved genetically. If you just think about like the Stone Age time, did we eat 3 meals a day plus 2 snacks? Could we actually order Pizza Hut 24/7? No. We did not eat very frequently back in the day. Now, our genes are so confused on what's going on, especially if those calories are junk foods. When you start this program and you stop eating, your brain's going to get smarter. Every single cell in your body is going to be very, very resilient. So let's go through on day 1. You are going to lose something called glycogen. Glycogen is a series of glucose molecules connected together on a chain. With each glucose, you have 3 waters. So if you actually look at what glycogen is, it's like this fluid-filled sack of sugar. And that is going to be tapped into and gone within the first day. So you're going to get rid of that. When you get rid of that, you get rid of a lot of water weight. Some people lose between 1 and even 3 pounds the first day. And some people need to lose that because they're just retaining way too much fluid as well. You're also going to be lowering this hormone called insulin, which is the control switch to whether you burn fat or you burn sugar. If insulin is low, you're going to be able to tap into your own fat. What am I talking about? I'm talking about when you're fasting, you're no longer eating food, but you're eating something else, your fat. This is why your appetite completely goes away. You're so satisfied, you have no desire to eat because you are eating. You're eating 24/7. You're eating one of the most biologically amazing foods that was ever created, and that is fat. Also, when you digest your fat, you don't need to actually use or tax your digestive system. You can just go right from your fat to your liver and use it as fuel. Because the body is sensing, okay, no food coming in, it's going to start turning off the switches to any type of growth. And it's going to start turning on the repair mechanisms in the body. Day 1, you're going into this, you stopped eating. I highly recommend you take sea salt, potassium, magnesium, calcium. These are electrolytes. Trace minerals are probably going to be important as well, and also some B vitamins, simply because a lot of these nutrients are not necessarily stored in the body for a long period of time. So if you're going into this and you haven't stored up a reserve and you become deficient, you can feel kind of some side effects like fatigue or muscle cramps or lightheadedness. But if you actually take these nutrients like I tell you, you won't have any problem at all. What can I drink on a fast? Well, you can do tea. I recommend naturally decaffeinated tea. I drink a lot of tea, but there's not a lot of calories in tea. So you can do tea, do a little coffee in the morning if you want. Just don't put any cream and definitely sugar in there or any type of artificial anything. Just drink it black. You can even do water with a little lemon. There's not a problem with that. There's not a lot of calories in lemon. I wouldn't add apple cider vinegar because it's more acidic and you might already have a lot of acid being concentrated and generated, so that might not be a good idea. A couple things that I like to do to add to doing a prolonged fast is I try to get a good amount of sun and then also long walks in nature. Heat therapy, whether it's a sauna, a jacuzzi, or a hot bath, or I might alternate to a cold bath or a cold shower as well. High intensity interval training, not a lot. In this 5-day fast, I might do 1 and make it really intense because now we're adding a couple different amazing stresses to enhance this effect. And I do take some other specific supplements, not a problem because there's not a lot of calories in there unless you're doing some type of collagen, which I don't recommend you do that during this fast. But the bone broth is a better thing to do if you run into any challenge. Now we're in day 2. Day 2 is where we start to really get into ketosis. Now, what the heck is ketosis? Ketosis is fat burning that you can use as fuel. And ketosis has many, many benefits. Number 1 being brain power. Oh my gosh, your focus, concentration, the ability to learn. Ketones are actually considered like a natural antidepressant. At day 2, we're getting more ketosis. You're going to be less hungry. And we're starting this amazing thing here, which I'm going to explain right now, called autophagy. What the heck is autophagy? Your body takes all the junk that it doesn't need and it recycles it for fuel and new body tissue that it needs. So the body is very efficient. If you're going to stop eating, it's going to take these resources that you'll never need. They're just there and they're just clogging everything up, and it's going to clean those out. These little tiny recycling factories right here, it's called the lysosome. And that factory allows you to take all the different damaged protein and it breaks it down, and then it spits out on the other side new raw material to make new cells. And that's called autophagy. This is why when you start doing fasting, it's kind of an anti-aging tool that you can use to actually get younger. Day 3, you're in deeper ketosis now. Now your brain is really, really happy. Your body's fuel right now is primarily ketones. Now, some people might tell you, oh, ketones are a backup fuel if you run out of glucose. That is so not true. Ketones are the primary fuel. And this is why if someone has been damaged by eating too much refined sugar, ketones can come in there and actually help heal them. But in day 3, we're getting this deeper ketosis. We're getting more brain power. We're getting better mood. You're going to feel kind of euphoric, kind of like really kind of happy and good. And that's because you're stimulating this thing called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. What the heck is this? It helps support making new brain cells. It helps increase the capacity for learning and more cognitive power. When I'm on a day 3 fast and I'm doing these videos, like I have very little editing. I mean, it's just like, I'm just right there all the time. Bam, 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 until I eat. And then it kind of clogs everything up in my thought pattern. BDNF can increase by 400% at day 3. Not in every single case. Sometimes it only increases by 40%. Then we have something called deep autophagy. I just want to explain this one more time because autophagy is the recycling of old damaged parts, but it's actually more than that. Mitochondria, the little energy factories of your cell. Most chronic disease comes from damage with your mitochondria. One of the types of autophagy is recycling damaged mitochondria. Cancer comes from damaged mitochondria. So right there, that's a plus point. Secondly, if you have any type of chronic illness, let's say it runs in your family, or maybe you have something brewing in the oven because it takes 15 to 20 years for some of these chronic diseases to manifest, guess what? Autophagy is going to start cleaning that up. Autophagy will also help clean up old intracellular, inside the cell, pathogens. Epstein-Barr virus, certain bacterial type stuff, fungus, mold, and that's in your cells. Autophagy is going to clean all that up. Think about what that will do for your immune system, and that's the next thing I want to talk about. At day 3, 72 hours, you're going to literally get a reset of your immune system. These old, damaged white blood cells get recycled to the point where you develop a new immune system. The thymus gland, which is on top of the heart, which is the training camp for your T cells, starts to grow when you start doing fasting. As you get older, it atrophies and gets smaller. The stem cells for your immune system also start getting stronger. Let me explain stem cells. They're basically cells that are kind of a blank neutral slate. They haven't really developed in anything. They can turn into anything. They're kind of like a neutral cell. So you have them sitting there waiting, and they do keep reproducing into other stem cells, but they're waiting there until the point where someday you might need some new cells. Well, guess what? The capacity for your stem cells start to increase, but not quite yet. It's going to really happen when you start refeeding. You're increasing this capacity for this amazing release of a new immune system, kind of like exercise. Or let's say you do some super intense workout and you worked really hard and you did it to such an extreme, such an intensity, to the point it was at failure. Well, the benefit from that versus a tiny workout is going to be much better, but you're not going to notice it for a couple days or even a couple weeks. The same thing with this. The reason why we're fasting for 5 days is we're going to create a bigger bang at the end of 5 days when you refeed. Okay, that's with the immune system. And the gut lining. In your gut, you have like 27 feet of intestines. And it's just really just like one cell layer. It's really thin layer of your entire GI system. And every 3 to 5 days, it gets replaced. Well, guess what? You haven't put any food in this long tube for 3 days. Think about what's happening. You are finally, for the first time probably in your life, cleaning out this system and finally a chance to really heal and regenerate without any food that's constantly causing your body to work. Not to mention the type of food that we eat is just like totally inflammatory, but we're not doing that with this fast. So we really get a chance to kind of rehab our gut lining. And then at day 3, you're really going to get this massive spike of growth hormone. Growth hormone protects you against muscle loss. This is why you're not going to shrivel up after 5 days. Growth hormone in a child helps you grow, but in an adult, it helps to keep you younger. Day 4, you have maximum fat burning and your hunger is gone. You're not interested in food. You could care less. I mean, the question is, how could your appetite possibly be gone if you haven't eaten anything unless your body's being fed already? And that's what happens. You've just been eating your fat 24/7, but it's so efficient and it's keeping everything going. You just don't have any hunger. And you didn't have any hunger the 3rd day either. And maybe you had a little hunger the 2nd day. But the point is that the longer you do this, the more the hunger just completely goes away. There's another little thing I want to mention. If you're going through a lot of stress and something happens, that can activate cortisol and that can release a little sugar and that can also cause you to be hungry. In that case, the quick solution is just to drink some bone broth and man, that'll be enough to give you the amino acids to feel great. It can be a game changer for those people who are struggling periodically through this longer fast. And I do recommend that even for a longer fast too. What's really happening is our bodies are repairing and also all sorts of genes are being triggered. Your body is trying to survive as long as possible. So all the longevity genes get kicked in there. All the genes for protection are heightened. Like this one right here, you start to build up your antioxidant networks. You can get antioxidants from food, but your body makes some as well. The other thing that happens with your microbes is your microbes start becoming more diverse because their genetics have evolved just like ours in soil, right? I mean, you go through winter, you go through droughts. Those microbes have to survive. A very similar situation with our bodies. Our bodies will start to cope and become way more efficient with fuel and recycling resources if we don't feed it. The other thing too, our hormone system becomes more sensitive, so now it works better. I will say the genes for sex hormones, even your menstrual cycle, that might go away during a long fast just because your body's like, okay, we better not reproduce. We better turn off that system. It'll kick back on once you start eating, but also the thyroid too. You might find the thyroid hormones kind of go a little lower. That's not a dysfunction. That's just adapting to not eating. Of course, on day 4, your autophagy is like on fire. Your cells are going after precancerous cells, microbes, damaged tissue, plaquing in your brain. It starts cleaning it up. Your inflammation just drops way, way, way down. All sorts of things start improving because you're in this deep autophagy. Now we got to day 5. All the benefits just are extended right here, but now at some point during the day, we're gonna do a refeeding. Very important, you don't want to just eat a big meal because your entire digestive system has been asleep for a while and you want to slowly kind of kick it in there. You would want to have maybe 1/4 of the amount of calories you would normally eat. An egg with a little sauerkraut. Wait for a couple hours. Maybe have a little soup, a little avocado. Wait for a couple hours. Some berries, a few nuts. That type of thing. And don't introduce a full meal for a couple days later. So you want to slowly get into this because if you overload your digestive system, you're going to feel very nauseous and kind of sick to your stomach. And what's really important is not to consume sugar or carbohydrate at this point, but bone broth is really good to consume because you have something that's really easy to process. You have these amino acids and there's vitamins and minerals. What's going to happen when you refeed at this point? You're going to get a massive rebuild. And this is why it's so important to put in quality food. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef or lamb, pasture-raised organic eggs, things like that. High quality organic food if you can afford that. And the on switch now is for grow. after this 5 days, boy, your skin, your muscles, your joints, your brain is all going to be that much better. And like I said in the beginning of this presentation, there are genes that are going to be turned on that would never be turned on if you didn't do this. And these genes are protective genes against DNA damage, protection now of your mitochondria, you get protection of your neurons. But if you never fast, you never get a chance to turn on these genes. I do not know of any better way to create more health than this prolonged fast. But to be able to work up to this prolonged fast, you really need to start with regular intermittent fasting. And for that information, you need to know all the details in this video right here. Check it out.